First we have, is it Daniel Ives? You want to come up here?
So, though I'm new to the board, the actual meeting here, I'm not new to the area. So I've been here about 13 years, and one of the things that I've struggled here with Spring Hills, which I don't understand, is our network internet system that we have here. So when I first came here, we had Verizon, and when we were dealing with Verizon, they didn't even have copper wires even set up. I had to push the subject to get the copper wires so we could get the higher bandwidth here. Since then, we have a product called Flashpoint ISP. We had David Gibbons here come back here in 2015. I worked with him to help establish it here. I tried to get them at PVEMS since I'm one of the IT administrators over there as well. And some of the things that kind of bother me is the fact that he came into the area, then he left, sold us to a company that did not treat us very well. And now he's back, and the way he came back, I'm not really very confident that he is going to, to support us the way a good ISP should be. So I don't have the pull, I'll be honest with you. I've been kind of arguing with him, the company Udini, for a long time, and I feel like I have not a lot of recourse to do anything about it. Some of the things that I kind of question is, why don't we have Comcast, or why don't we have a cable company? When I did my investigation with Comcast back in February, and I did call the township first to get permission to ask, they were basically very, standoffish at first. But when I told them that, maybe we could get a grant, maybe we could have them lay the 7.5 mile of cable to get here, they said, well, the only thing that's stopping us is the franchise agreement. So those are kind of things that I was like, well, why don't we have one, and so on. So when this whole thing came back with Flashpoint being taken back over by David Gibbons, I did question a lot of the things that were going on again, so they told me to come to the meeting here to discuss it and to try to find out why. And I also want to offer my services. If there's anything I could do to help get a grant for the township, or anything I could do to continue to bolster the relationship with Flashpoint, or whatever you want, I'm here for you. I mean, my vested interest is the fact that I'm an IT expert myself. I pretty much, my whole house and my whole family, that's our lifeblood. So that's what I have to basically say today.
Well, we appreciate you coming out and talking about that. And I know high-speed internet is a big issue for a lot of us out here. Not everyone that's out here, so we appreciate that. I do know that we have been in communications with the state, both from the House and the Senate level, on trying to push some of these issues. We've been in contact, I believe, with Comcast. Doug, I don't know if you could hear about the discussion, but he's the one who had done a lot of the previous communications with them. And it, from what we were gathering, was Comcast was not going to do anything out here.
Well, what I found
that's correct. It's not economically feasible for them to run a line down to the village.
Yeah, they said it was about $160,000 to run a 7.5 mile cable from Center Hall over to here. But my question here, and this is something that I've been researching for a while, there are a lot of federal grants that we could sign up for, and because we're a rural area, to be able to pay that bill. Would you be interested if I decided to go and try to get those grants?
I think, speaking for myself, we'd be interested in the discussion and maybe seeing what it is that you're finding out there from the state level for grants.
I know of, I don't know if you know the Comcast Foundation. I understand that's one place that should be contacted that could possibly help. And I don't know if you know of George Busick and Rudy Stackhouse are working pretty hard at trying to get Comcast here as well. And they're in Spring Mills.
What are those names again? Because I'd love to talk to them and see what I could do to help them.
Okay, I can give that to you.
Okay. But like I said, I will do anything you need. I mean, and it doesn't even just have to be Comcast. It could be any services. I just feel strongly that this township would thrive if we had some reliable, high-speed internet here.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you for offering your services.
Thank you.
Dawn?
think most everybody knows me, and I just have a few things to say here. As of tonight, 47-year run as EMA director of Gregg Township will come to an end, which is bittersweet for me, but everything good thing has to come to an end. So I just would like to thank everyone who has been there and helped me and the people that work for me through this long and mostly enjoyable time. First, I'd like to thank the supervisors, and there's been many of them since I've been in, believe me. And I appreciate each one of you, the ones that's in now and the ones that was way back. They were always there. They were there to sign the proclamations for emergencies, and they just provided any help, any equipment. The road crews, I thank them because they were always out there. We tried to work together real well and keep the roads at least one lane open for emergency vehicles. And I think we did a very good job of that. I'd like to thank the fire company who spent many hours pumping water, doing rescue work, and working with our auxiliary to set up a shelter and supplies meals for the firemen that was working out in the area and for anyone of the community, anyone that needed assistance. They did a great job. They supplied meals and they supplied sleeping arrangements and they supplied heat and anything that could help these people, and I appreciate that. And of course, I'd like to thank my wife because she was my assistant for many years. She was an assistant when we used telephone only, didn't have radios. And so she would take a lot of calls and she would help line up my schedule for getting people out to do the pumping or whatever was needed. And together we got through the telephone age. We got on the CBs, which I thought was great, and then along came the radio, and that was just the greatest thing in the world. I had some problems with it, but it was great. I'd like to thank the many community people who came out, neighbors, community people. When there was a disaster of any kind, you could depend on this community to come out and help you. Whatever needed to be done, they would try to help. And I appreciate all their assistance. Now also, Penn's Cave. We worked very closely with Penn's Cave to control Penn's Creek, down through Spring Mills, and all the way down through all the areas downstream. And they worked very closely with us, and they would let us know when they were going to open control gates, and I could come out usually and I could monitor the stream out here, and if it got high I could be in contact with them and they maybe shut down a little bit, or we regulated so we didn't have a lot of bad flooding like we could have had. So I just want to thank everybody who made my job easier the last 47 years. I appreciate everyone who came forward to help us and help the community and get back on our feet. The last thing, I need to thank the county EMA for all their help, and for our supervisors, our township secretaries, and all they did to help recover some of the losses that we suffered, And we have recovered some money over the years. We haven't paid for everything that was damaged, but we've recovered some money over the years, and it sure helped out, I guess. And I just want to thank everybody for that. And the people, I'd like to thank all the people who brought their boats in, or their chainsaws, or their dozers, or backhoes, or any other equipment that I needed. They were always there to bring equipment in, and the township crew was always there to help. So I just wanted to thank everybody and let them know that I do and did appreciate all the help that I got in the last 47 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Janet?
Hello everyone, my name is Janet Scott Ettinger. I live down on Water Street, in front of Francis Bowman's property. And that's the reason I'm here tonight is I went into Bellepointe yesterday for a hearing after his trial back in March, I think it was. And I'm afraid we're back to square one. They gave him probation. And he has to repay the fines for, you had some groups cleaning up his property a few times. Anyway, Mr. Beerley was there also. What I'm asking is, first of all, I would like you supervisors, if you're not aware of the situation, to take a walk down. I know you are. Take a walk down and just see how bad this is. He doesn't live there. Trash, garbage, electrical wires going all over his lot there. He has a refrigerator, microwave for when he stops in, I guess, for breakfast or whatever. I'm thinking that all those electrical wires can't be healthy either, going, when it rains, as it does around here. I spoke a little bit with Mr. Beerley yesterday, and my suggestion was, I don't know what else to do. To put a lien on the property for the money that he owes for the cleanups. Nothing is getting done. This has been going on for years, and it just goes around and around. I, meanwhile, have to live there, as other people do. There's rats, there's vermin, whatever. Are you familiar with it? Any of you familiar with it? Okay. Is issuing a lien an option? The fire department we pulled in to check out all this wiring. I'm beside myself. I don't know what else to try. I've gone to hearings. I've talked to neighbors, and come to you guys. So that's my appeal to you. What you can do.
We appreciate your comments, and it's something that we'll discuss with our solicitor.
Okay,
Look at
thank
any
you.
options. Thank you, Jen. Trent?
Hello, I'm Trent Everly. I live in Penn Township, but I run a Great Township Tire Company, so I figured I'd come for a meeting. I was just wanted to come and ask you guys permission, or if you guys' graces, if we could put somewhat of like a dam or a block, like stack up the rocks over here by the ball field for a potential drafting site at some point in time. It's something that we would take care of as the environment we would go over and do someday. It wouldn't be high, and it wouldn't fully block the water. We just would like a little bit of a pool there that if we ever need to draft off of over here, we could do that. So I wanted to discuss it with you guys first, for your approval or denial or whatnot.
I'm not entirely sure what that means. Are you talking about the creek down?
Yes, yes, the creek right over here. Yeah, we just want to stack up some rocks to just get a little bit of a pool of water so that if we ever need to draft out of there, we have enough water to be able to do so.
Is that something that has to go through like DEP type stuff?
probably gonna have to start with the county,
Okay.
just to cover your butt.
Okay.
And I'll call tomorrow if you'd like.
Yes, I wasn't
See
sure
what we
where to
need.
start, so I just wanted to come talk to you guys first, because you would be the one above me.
A very good possibility we're gonna end up with a permit like before with the dry hydrants,
Okay,
but I'll get you an answer.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean.
Yes?
Contact Dave Keller. He retired from the state now, and that's what he has been doing a lot of that stream work
I don't wanna sound rude, Carol, but I'm gonna go above and beyond him.
above and beyond.
Yeah, I got several for them in the past, so, yeah, I'll make a call tomorrow.
I just know he does that work.
Yep.
Moving on to liaison reports, first solicitor report.
Nothing that's not on the agenda.
Emergency management coordinator, we have received, oh, I'm sorry, before we go on, sorry, Bobby. First we have the sewage planning module for the Century Estates subdivision, which was, passed through planning commission signed and recommended for the board of supervisors to sign.
Yeah, here's the planning commission. We got plan module. Responding plan. 9 lots on a 150-acre farm. All lots are over 11 acres. All lots have primary and replacement site testing that is, past perk. SEO signed it, zoning signed it, planning commission signed it. This is the last step before we, can send once the supervisor sign it, it goes to DEP for final approval.
Do you have any comments?
Chris, do you have any comments on that?
No, planning commission looked at it, it's all in order, everything's there, and again, you're only signing the sewage planning module now. The other plan has been recently submitted to Center County, and we'll see it next month as far as the full set, so this is just a procedure.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve the sewage planning module for Century Estates.
I will make that motion.
I will second the motion.
Any further discussion?
None here.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimous.
I prefer if you second the motion.
Since he's
Yeah.
not looking at it.
Hey,
Okay.
hey Doug,
Yeah.
since you're not here, I'm going to get Charles and Carrie to take care of the motions. I think in the minutes will reflect that you were here over the phone, but I worry about
Okay.
motions being passed and seconded from a phone. Okay.
So you're Charles. is the
I do.
motion.
Yeah.
So you go 11.
Mm-hmm. Should be halfway through. I should be having fun.
Right, the checkbox on that. So you guys are supposed to fill out, but everything should be on here. The testing's on there, the slopes, wells.
Signatures are in there. That's the order. I just mark all of those.
Yeah. And as Chris said, we just submitted the plan last week, so we'll be back here at some point here to address any comments you guys may have and kind of go from there. If you guys have any concerns right off, while I'm here that I can answer, any questions? Or?
I have one. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Emergency management coordinator, we received the letter of approval from the governor's office for Jim Smith, who will be the emergency management coordinator, and Jomer Smeltzer will be the assistant. So we need to make a motion to appoint officially Jim Smith and Jomer Smeltzer.
I will make that motion.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You there, Doug?
Yep, yep.
Okay, motion carries unanimous. Greg Thompson Township Fire Company, we received a request to pay the $451 for raffle tickets like we do each year. I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
None here.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimous. Anything else from the fire company?
Yeah, report.
Most of you know me, I'm Darren Bressler, I'm one of the assistant chiefs here in Spring Mills. I have my notes on my phone, my wife told me not to do that, but I did it. Over the month of June, we had 19 calls. The carnival is August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I know Terry's excited about this, we have Dunk a Public Official, so anybody who wants to come out and try and dunk her or any other public officials, please do so. Air packs. We, about a year and a half ago, there was a grant written for air packs for all of the Penn Valley fire companies. $600 and some thousand grant. Spring Mills got grant approval for that. We got 16 air packs, 32 extra cylinders, 32 face pieces, 2 RIT bags, equaling about $120,000 worth of grants. So we can safely go into burning buildings and feel confident with the equipment that we have to be able to breathe through. Out of the $120,000, we had to pay about $15,000. That's, every company had to pay a certain percentage on that. Over the past month, we did some training with Center Hall over at the Burn Center. We had 9 people from Gregg Township go over. Center Hall had 12 people go over. We were there from around 6:30 till almost 10 o'clock at night training in the training facility, training together, which was great. While we were training, Harry Hockenberry, the Center Hall chief, and I were sitting around talking with amongst 6 or 8, maybe 10 other people, and he looked at me and said, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this wouldn't have happened. None of the companies, I shouldn't say none of the companies, but a lot of the companies didn't communicate, didn't train like that, like we did over there. Also something big coming up, and I do not know Scott's last name from Company 28. And one of the EMTs from Station 28 is setting up an active shooter at the high school. It is going to be rather involved. It's going to be, I believe it's the second weekend in August. Nothing is totally official yet. Saturday is going to be classroom training. Sunday is going to be actual active shooter, how we deal with it, staging, cleaning up, whatever we need to do, so that we're trained in case anything like that ever happens. God forbid anything ever happens like that here, but we will be trained. All the companies in the valley will be doing it. EMA will be involved, FEMA will be involved, the county sheriffs, the state police, the medics, Life Flight, whole 9 yards. That's exciting. Once we do that, we were talking about doing a similar thing here. Once we get it done down there, get approval here to do something here, because this is one of the larger buildings in Spring Mills. It could be a possibility, so we would be trained on how to operate here. Scott is also working on a cave rescue, because we have a lot of caves in the Penns Valley area. So he's working with Penns Valley, or with Penns Cave, and with Woodward Cave to put some things together to get us cave trained. And once again, I just want to finish up by thanking the community for supporting the townships in their efforts moving forward, and the supervisors for supporting us and helping us with the carnival with the support of paying for the raffle tickets.
Before you sit down, Darren, just trying to inform the public, the company has set up an account at Jersey Shore Bank where anybody can go in and donate, and they aren't known. I mean, they can put any amount in. Maybe you can explain that account just a little bit better.
I can't. I don't know.
I got an email from Michelle today,
Okay.
asking the supervisors, the fire company respectfully requests the supervisors consider posting a link to the fire company PayPal account on social media and or your website.
Yeah, so it's the PayPal account, yeah. So
Right.
you can go into PayPal, through a website, and donate money to the fire company online. and I thought you were talking about another account, I didn't know it. Yeah, the PayPal account, Michelle set that up for the fire company to be able to receive funds like that.
And the way it works, if I understand it, anybody can put in there, but only our person that handles the funding has access to it.
Yeah, so
Just one
on
person.
that.
No,
on
the pay, you can't just have one person on that.
No, that's what
I
I'm
talked
gonna
to
say.
Sherry,
Yeah,
there's
so
multiple people.
There's multiple people on every account that we have.
Yes.
But there's only one person that's technically through the company allowed to move it with our signatures.
With the signatures.
Correct.
Yeah, we have
Still
with
have
the
a
correct
three-signer.
signatures, yeah.
Signer,
Yeah.
or two, whatever, more than one person.
There's a minimum of 2
Just so
people on all the
people
fire
are-
company accounts, there's a minimum of 2 people that need to sign.
But we had decided that there would only be one person actually physically handle it once it's ready to be moved.
That's, okay? Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Old Greg School Advisory Board.
We did not have a quorum for our last meeting, so we decided on nothing, but I just wanted to let you know that, I forget if I did it last month, I may have, that we, community days, we took in $578 for the pie sales we had, and then to date, I think, Pam, there's only been one picnic table sold so far.
The ladies from the fire company had come over and had given a donation of $75 for one.
Okay.
They said they were going halves with somebody and told me to hold the check. They would get the other information for me. I've
Okay.
yet to hear anything back from them.
Okay, I just wanted to remind the public that we're trying to sell picnic tables for the pavilion up by the ball field and even the ones out here, and they're $150 a table, and you'll get
That gets
a little
packet.
plaque you can put in. some
Donated by.
short- Donated by, some short wording on it, but just trying to get those paid for. That's all. That's all I have. Thank you.
Doug, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, I have a few things here. A large window on the second floor in room 205 was replaced by Center Glass at a cost of $1,342 this past week. There was a damaged metal guard post found in front of the solar system down in the basement. It was ripped out of the floor. We don't know how that occurred. There's a shade there at 106 above the air conditioner that needs to be replaced or repaired, whatever makes the most sense. And the brick repair around the parapet of the gym still needs to be done. I have 3 estimates here for that. Now, do you want to entertain those at this time, or do you want to wait till later?
Sooner the better, I would think.
Charles says sooner the better.
Okay, all right. I have 3 estimates. Pam has them also there. The first one is from Gary Horner for $11,500. The second one is from Matt Hagan. He gave us an estimate of $10,000 to $12,000, but he said work is to be performed on a time and material basis at $45 per man hour. He said, depending on conditions, what work may run over or under this estimate. That's Matt Hagan. The last one we got just the other day, and that was from Sleepy Hollow Construction from Woodward, and they gave us a quote of $11,250 to repair the brick around the parapet. All of those people are aware that there's a lot of loose brick up there, and it may be there may be more there than meets the eye. So I guess what I'm looking for tonight is a motion to select one of those 3 people to repair the parapet.
I guess my question before we pick somebody to repair the brick would be, do we know that whatever's causing the water to run through there is
Well,
also
it has
being
to do with
addressed?
the cap, and I think that's something they would be looking at. Apparently, it is leaking under that cap over the parapet, and that must be dealt with.
Is that
My
something they're
understanding
dealing with?
is whoever does this would take care
Is the mortar bad that's allowing it to go in?
Is the mortar bad behind the bricks?
Well, it's allowing the water to get in there.
No, I think there's like an aluminum cap on the top of it, and
Okay.
somehow that's getting in there.
Do you understand what he's saying?
Yeah, I just asked.
Oh, okay. I would be interested in making a motion to go with Mr. Horner.
Goal,
Now, he's not
I
the
mean, do we have
lowest.
to go with the lowest,
Okay.
quotes? How would you recommend we deal with that? This is technically the lowest by a couple hundred. They're all time and materials, so this one could be
What was
lower.
11.5. Here's the first one.
Oh,
Does that first one include the cost that he already put in to looking at it?
No, I think that's a separate.
The basis on my decision is the fact that Gary has done several other projects here. I think he would have a good idea what's involved, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily questioning that. I'm questioning from a legal standpoint,
Right.
whether we
Are these
have
pure,
to go.
are these purely time and materials quotes, Doug?
Well, the one is clearly time and materials. That's the one from Matt Hagan. The one we just received, I think that is, the one we just received from Sleepy Hollow Construction, that's, my understanding is that's what it will cost to do it. Quite honestly, I can't imagine anybody that does that sort of work, being able to estimate that closely, but that's what we have. So Matt Hagan is clearly time and materials. I'm not sure about Sleepy Hollow Construction. I think their intent is that the $11,250 is to finish the job. Gary Horner has added some money on in the past. He's also given us some money back in the past. So that's about as honest an assessment as I can make.
To what extent are these evaluative? And what I mean by that is, to what extent are these folks analyzing the situation and coming up with a solution?
Matt Hagan actually rented a lift and had two men there all day assessing the situation. Gary Horner and Sleepy Hollow Construction assessed it from the ground. Although I did tell them both that there's a lot of loose brick up there, and it's worse than it seems.
Other than just laying brick, what types of work are they going to be doing?
Well, they're going to have to remove brick, and they're going to have to remove the residue of mortar that's up there, and then they may need to clean up some of the brick to reuse it. Other brick they'll just have to replace. They will then need to cement the brick in place and repoint it.
I'm okay if you don't go with the lowest bidder for two reasons. First is you are relying on professional discretion here.
Yeah.
It's not a situation where you're asking for a defined task. You have to rely on someone's professional judgment. Number two is the quotes aren't really apples to apples anyway. They're based on different units or metrics, and they're not finite in the sense that any of them know how many units or bricks will be put down. I
can give you a little more information in that regard. Gary Horner says, repair brick along roof line, 950 brick would need to be torn out and relayed. Okay? And then he would repoint it. So that's as specific as he gets. Matt Hagan has given a little more information.
already owe him 1,200 and something, or?
Right, yeah, well, he's sending the bill, yeah, I estimate we already owe him around $1,200 for 2 men and renting a lift to assess it.
But he's saying it's between 10 and 12?
Yes.
So whatever. Yeah, I mean, from a legal perspective, this is a classic situation where you're relying on
Yeah.
someone's professional judgment. And if you
Yeah.
have reason to believe that someone's judgment might be better under the circumstances than the other,
Mhm.
then you're okay. But that means you can do what you want. It doesn't mean you have to go
Okay.
for it.
Well, I know Mr. Hageman, I have a reference from him about the work that he does, and I know Gary Horner's work is good also. Sleepy Hollow Construction, they've never done anything for us, but they may be very good, I don't really know.
I don't know. I appreciate that the Matt person has been out and has been up looking at it, but to already have charged us over $1,000 just to rent a lift and 2 men to look at it seems
Yeah.
like a lot of money, which could lead me to believe that we could be looking at more money when they do the work as well.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, and he could be the least expensive or the most expensive, depending on which end of his range you end up at.
Yes. My understanding that his estimate here includes the lift that he did have, but he doesn't actually state that on the estimate. And he did say he was going to send us a bill yesterday. He told me that he'd be sending us a bill for the lift.
I'll still stick with my decision.
Would you state it as a motion?
Yeah, I will make that motion that we hire Gary Horn to do that work.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion?
No? Not here.
All those in favor of going with Gary Horner?
Aye.
Aye.
Not here.
Motion carries unanimous. Anything else, Doug?
Not on that, no.
Okay. Anything you
I
want?
have nothing else for physical plant in the old Rick School.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Pam, about Old Greg School?
No.
Pennsylvania Code Enforcement Agency, Mike is not here. I actually have not seen a report. Did you get a report? I don't believe we ended up getting a report this month from Code Agency, so can you send an email tomorrow and see if we can get that, please?
Absolutely.
Emergency Medical Services, EMS, Lindsay, I don't believe is here. I did attend their board meeting yesterday. They are looking to get 2 CPAP machines, one for each of their rigs. I believe they each cost a little over, I want to say a little over $2,000. So they're going to be running a quick fundraising blast to see, they did have, I believe, a church donate enough for maybe one of them. So they're looking to raise enough money for the other one. So that'll be coming out, I believe, on Facebook and on their website within the next couple of days. I'm going to help them try and get a video pushed out there about that. So if anybody's interested in donating towards CPAP machines for the EMS rigs, you can see me or see any of the members of the EMS or drop something off down at the station. It'd be great to get them stocked with that, especially the amount of time it takes to get from down the valley to the hospital. That would be something important for them to have. So look for that coming out. We have a joint municipal EMS meeting on the 29th to discuss what kind of agreement or what we're going to do moving forward as the municipalities of Penns Valley to support the EMS. Some more information should be coming out about that as well.
Where's that gonna be held?
That's going to be held at the EMS building, I believe at 7 o'clock on the 29th. Penns Valley Regional Planning Commission, I don't believe we've met right, Doug?
Yeah, we last met on May the 20th, and our discussion centered very heavily on the EMS, also on broadband, and there was some discussion about Amish wheel marks in the road. That's all I have to say about that. The next meeting is on September the 16th in room 106 at 7 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Planning Commission?
Nothing here.
Tri-Municipal Park?
Yeah, Tri-Municipal Park, Brian Almond, the landscape architect who has been hired to submit a grant, is very close to submitting his tree vitalized grant. That's for 100 trees we're planting at the park next spring. That's all I have on that.
Joel, do you have anything you want to add?
Real quickly, I can add a couple of things. Basically, the seeding's all done. We need some general range between now and this fall. We need some amendments on the playing fields to get them to thicken up and be playable. And this isn't the time of the year to put amendments on grass when it's hot and dry. So there'll be a certain amount of money kept in contingency for some additional washouts and that repair work. As far as I know, both the Penvest grant/loan and the DCNR grant are nearly finished, or they're satisfied with those. I haven't seen the final paperwork yet, but we're basically pretty well finished. The one thing you may or may not know about, we started the plan with a rain garden. That's what you may call a pond or whatever you want to call it. We're not sure where that goes. The definition of a rain garden is it gets dry in one day. Well, obviously that's stayed wet through wet seasons for a year and a half now. And we're not quite sure where we're going to go with that. It's possibly we could go for 2 or 3 feet of water and develop a whole, what we're looking at is really educational for youth using a wetland or that facility. So it could be as much as 2 or 3 feet of water permanently, or it could end up being more or less something that's wet part of the year and dry part of the year, and the vegetation that we put in there, and the way we approach it from an educational standpoint would be based on that particular thing. So we've all agreed to watch it this summer, kind of see what happens. We do have the capability, the contractor did put a drain in to actually drain it lower than what was in the original plan. So we have the option of keeping less water there than what was in the original plan. The playing fields will not be ready this fall, which means if they're not ready this fall, they're not going to be ready next spring in April to be on. So we're looking at more or less the playing fields will not be available until later in the year. We're talking with the football folks here in Penns Valley, and they're very supportive of helping us get the turf and get the fields the way we want them to be. And we're going to continue to talk to them and work through amendments to improve the stand of the grass there and so forth. We are planning to mow up there tomorrow. I thought it might be too wet. Now it doesn't look like it's even going to be wet at all, unfortunately, unless some rain comes in overnight. But we are planning to do some mowing up there tomorrow on some of the areas where I planted the wheat notes last fall. Any questions? If not, thanks.
Thank you. I do not have a water and sewer report either. You may have noticed that they're running the line starting from the school that will be tying into the sewer. So I know they started work on that. One other thing for the fire company while I think of it, I think the Antique Machine Association with the new Sarah Campbell Lane going in is looking at what their crossing capabilities are going to be during the machine shows. So they did ask what we were going to do. And I said, well, you might want to talk to the fire police about.
So what do you mean crossing? Traffic control?
Traffic control on Sarah Campbell, because it used to just be their lane for the machine shows. Well, now it's going to be the township main road.
When we were over there for the spring show, Gary Powers actually actually approached me about fire police for the whole show,
Yeah.
whether we would want to support that. We, as Greg Township, do not have enough fire police to support that for the whole time. We would just run people ragged. So we're going to look into all of the fire companies helping out with fire police.
And is that something we write, like we've done for your parades and stuff, where we have to write a letter for that?
Yes, if we're using everybody in the valley, you
If we-
guys,
yeah.
the supervisors, would have to reach out to the other municipalities, inviting them or asking them to come out.
If it's just Greg Township, no, because we're within the
Right.
township.
Right, okay, well, let us know on that,
Okay.
how those communications go, but I'm glad that that's already being talked about. Secretary Treasurer's report, I'll entertain a motion to approve the June 13th, 2019 Board of Supervisors minutes.
I will make that motion.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, here.
Motion carries unanimous. I'll entertain a motion to accept and approve the All Funds Financial Report.
I will make that motion.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
None.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion carries unanimous. We have a CD that is coming up that needs to be renewed. We've moved all our other accounts to First National.
Yes.
So we need a motion to move the CD to First National.
I will make that motion.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I hear.
Motion carries unanimous.
I have,
Go ahead.
never mind, we'll do that at the end.
Anything else you have?
No.
Okay. Right to know report, anything you want to add on that?
We did get our, I did receive another right to know request today. As you all can see. I'm working on that one, and we did get the final determination for the one on, May 9th for the requester's appeal, and it was dismissed in part and denied in part.
Just this week, we received, and it's on the right to know law report, a decision on the 2 appeals involving surveillance footage at the old Greg School. The right to know law is written to say that documentation, and in this case, camera footage, relating to the security of a building can be withheld if it can be reasonably shown that documentation being distributed would cause harm. We're in this issue, and I was saying before the meeting to Pam, FOIA, the federal law, has similar language, and no one thinks about the reasonably likely to cause harm portion of the law. They say, well, yeah, it's related to building security, and that's the type of footage or materials we want to keep withheld, and so you can withhold it. Pennsylvania, through the Commonwealth Court, I think, and this is just my opinion, has created an impossible standard. It's very, very difficult to establish that materials or documentation will cause harm if certain things happen in the future, short of getting someone to come in and say, I'm going to use that surveillance video footage to break into the old Greg School. We don't know how to prove that releasing security documentation is going to cause harm. And that's kind of the situation we found ourselves in. Regardless, we tried our best to fight these surveillance footage disclosures. There have been comprehensive requests for all sorts of information relating to the surveillance footage of the school. As we pointed out in court, largely through testimony of the supervisors and the right to know officers, this is the type of information that's exceedingly important in many people's minds, because the surveillance footage and the surveillance system is the primary means of security here. There's no security guard, there's no metal detector, nothing like that. Regardless, as I said, the court has come back and said that surveillance footage, when requested, needs to be disclosed. That's obviously a concern, but it's also just a practical issue because of the way that the surveillance system records. If someone says they want a week's worth of the surveillance footage at the Old Greg School, that's gigabytes and terabytes of information that needs to be handled, and we're just not capable of shepherding large volumes of, terabyte level data from one person to another. So anyway, I've advised the surveillance, the township to just say, never mind, we're not doing surveillance anymore. And a decision will be made at some point on that, but that's where that stands.
Roadmasters report. Anything?
I guess, I don't know, we got those, no alcohol signs the other day for the, ball field that I believe somebody requested be put up, and we put those up, and that's done. Finished the dirt and gravel road project for Anita Gap. We're informed that we got the grant that we put in for this year to put stone on top of that next year, and then that whole road will be, I guess that project's kind of completed.
If you haven't been up Veneta Gap, it used to be very deep, sunken in road, and we put a lot of fill, over 3 feet in some cases, to bring that road up so that water will drain off. It's a dirt and gravel road conservation district grant. So if you get a chance, take a drive up there. It's a much nicer drive up Veneta Gap than it was. So we appreciate all the work